What's up, everybody, back with another champion concept video. Today we're going to be going over a very interesting assassin build that I created. His name is Wisken, the Shadow of the Ancient Aura. If you guys like this video, like always, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the champion concept, and if there's any champions that you would like to see me make in the future, and we'll get right into the video. With Wisken, he is a assassin-based champion. He is magic damage dealing, and the big part of his kit that you guys will see is a utility debuffing assassin. So when you think of assassin and utility, you don't generally put those two together. You think of champions like Zed, Kha'Zix, heck, even like Rengar, even LeBlanc, but you don't really think of a champion being able to be assassin based and being able to have some sort of utility in the game. But you guys will see with Wisken that it is very, very possible. So we'll get right into his first ability, which is his passive, known as Dismal Shade. Every X seconds, Wisken's next auto attack will throw a Shadow Dirk towards target, adapting to a ranged basic attack mechanic, giving his ranged auto attack a 445 range. This is very similar to Poppy's passive, where she can throw her buckler and deal damage at a ranged pace. The Dirk will bounce up to 3 times, prioritizing champions, dealing slightly less magic damage for each bounce if the target hits an enemy champion. So if you throw this ability at a target champion at the beginning of its bounce, it will deal magic damage to that target and then slightly, trickle off in less damage. If it hits more than one champion, it will deal slightly less damage. This is not to be used as a way to demolish champions in lane. This is more so as a wave clear tool. So if it's hitting enemy targets, if it's hitting enemy minions or monsters, it deals just a flat magic damage. There's no deduction on any of it, so it's a good way to deal a lot of damage. Now, if it does hit an enemy champion, the last enemy champion hit will leave a shade on the ground. Shades can be used to affect other abilities, and this actually does affect every single other ability. And the shades last up to 10 to 18 seconds, and this is completely level based. So, level 1, level 6, level 11, level 16, level 18, that sort of thing. Now, you guys will see that every ability in this kit will be affected by shade in a very interesting mechanically way. That's not a word, mechanical way. So you guys will see that it's very, very, the entire part of this kit, kind of how Syndra plays around her spheres, Wisken would play around these shades. Wisken's first ability is called Chained Ether. This has a cooldown of 11 to 5 with a cast range of 350 and a radius of 550. Wisken strikes target with a powerful runic dirk, dealing magic damage. This is a melee auto attack. If the target is an enemy champion, the target is tethered to Wisken for 3 seconds, also leaving behind a shade at target location. So right there, he will auto attack a champion, they become tethered to him, and then a shade is dropped at that exact location where the damage was dealt. If the target stays within 550 range of Wisken, the tether will pull the target back to his current location, slowing them, which will decay over 1.5 seconds. This ability can be used as a auto attack reset, and also targets can be pulled over terrain if used properly. If the target who is tethered is pulled through a shade, the shade will explode, dealing magic damage. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this ability. So this is a auto attacks and boom, lays down a shade, target also becomes tethered. That target stays within range of Wisken, they get pulled to his current location. And you guys will see with another ability, these two have a lot of synchronization in them. So you can actually end up pulling targets over walls, over Barren Pit, and you can get a good amount of damage off by using the shades that you place down. Even in lane, because this places down a shade, you are able to attack them, kind of angle yourself so that they're going to get pulled back into that shade, which is then going to deal more damage. Now the trick here is to stay within that 550 range. I would say if I was playing Wisken, I would be auto attacking a champion and then walking back, trying to stay within that 550, kind of playing around the edge of this ability's radius, and that way you get a further pull and you have a chance to set them up to pass through one of these shades. The second ability is called Umbra Paradox, and also Whispers of the Mute. This actually has 2 different effects on it. So the cooldown is 18, goes down to 13, with a cast range of 750 and a teleport range of 625, which we'll get into. So the first part of the ability, the Umbra Paradox, Wisken will conjure a shade at target location, allowing Wisken to enter the paradox undetected, making him invisible. So once you unlock this ability, you can walk into a shade, you know, level 1, having your Q. It's not going to do anything. Once you unlock this ability, this will allow Wisken to walk into these shades, which then he enters the paradox, making him invisible. So like small little Akali shrouds. Wisken can continue to conjure shades until max level, or max stacks, which is 1 to 5 depending on the level of this ability. If recasted on a existing shade, Wisken will teleport to that shade, inside of that shade, starting a timer for this ability to go on cooldown. Wisken can either teleport to a nearby shade, again, think of it as a Aurelia Q, but instead of queuing to minions, instead of, dashing to minions, you are dashing into different invisible cover, costing mana and resetting the ability's timer. Now, I didn't put the timer number in here. My thought was about 3 seconds. And I feel going more than that, maybe 4 would be fine, but I think 3 is enough. The whole point of this is to have fast, quick reaction time to be able to dash from one area to another. You can dash, you can place these over walls, you can place these in a straight line, you can place them right next to each other, it doesn't really matter. But you want to be able to place these to kind of, confuse, disorient your enemy. He also has a second part of this ability, which must be cast from inside of a shade to an enemy champion. So that's why I said must be cast from a shade and then enemy champion to trigger this ability. This will trigger Whispers of the Mute. Wisken will blink to a target champion, silencing them for 2 seconds, also empowering his next auto attack with bonus magic damage. This ability may sound very similar. If you guys played Talon before you got reworked, this is Noxian Diplomacy, basically. The exact same type of ability. And the reason why I took this ability, obviously, since Talon no longer has that ability, no other champion in that game has that ability, I thought the ability itself was very unique, but I think fitting into Talon's kit, it just didn't work. I think with a champion like this, having the ability to, be this kind of utility-like assassin, being able to kind of dash around, gives him a very unique effect with this. You guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this actually works as a very cool secondary option for this ability, but that's just me. Maybe I'm a little biased. The third ability is called Coltraps. This has a cooldown of 20 to 12, cast range of 550, and then an ability range of 200. Wisken deploys a batch of Coltraps around his current location, so wherever he's standing, when he casts his ability, he drops a Coltraps, which if you guys don't know what that is, it's a spiky type of needle trap that ninjas used to use. Enemies who pass over them are dealt consistent magic damage over time, so think of the Hex Tech Minefield ability that Ziggs uses. As they walk over it, they are dealt, consistent damage. If an enemy uses a movement-based ability over Coltraps, they are dealt the same amount of damage, but also have 25% of their magic resist shredded for X amount of seconds. The timer for the shred starts whenever the target leaves the effects of Coltraps. So you think, let's say you have a Fiora. They try to Q over the Coltraps. Let's say they land directly on top of them. So they're dealt damage. Then they also have 25% of their magic shred, of their magic resist, shredded. And the timer for this effect to stop does not start until they leave the Coltraps. This could be very, very interesting, having items such as Leandri's Torment, having an item such as Rylaz, which makes them slow while they're on top of this. This just brings up this amplifies the amount of damage that can be done. Also, this ability has a second, effect. Placing Coltraps inside of a shade will modify the ability, applying a root for targets who walk inside the shade, and the root lasts 2 seconds. So now, you got to think, he has the ability to go invisible. He has the ability to blink not only 2 different areas of invisibility, but also has the ability to blink to a target champion, which then can apply a silence, stopping them from using their abilities. He then has this ability, which then shreds magic resist, as well as being used as a form of a root. So you have some Trickster ability here, kind of as, I would say the same level of Trickster as, using the Blanc decoy, using Iron brushes, using Nico's passive. There's a lot of tricky potential in this ability. Let's say you're running away from a target, you throw down a shade, you throw down another shade, you jump to that shade, maybe they're chasing you into that one, you throw down this ability, jump back to the other shade, they walk into there, they become rooted. You can then, use your Whispers of the Mute to jump back to them, to silence them, get an empowered, do you see like the pattern of damage that you can do with just these 3 abilities is massive, and we haven't even gotten to his ultimate yet. So I think, like I said, already he is very, very unique in a sense where he can do a lot of damage and has a lot of debuffing ability. Then you get into his main ability, his ultimate, called Tranquility and Darkness. This has a cooldown of 280 to 220 with an effect range of 725. This, I would say, may be altered later on. If this champion would ever, join the Rift, I would maybe reduce this slightly, but we'll see. Wisken channels for 1.5 seconds, then unleashes a Dark Runic Magical Burst, which has a large area of effect, like I said, 725. Now, this ability negates all buffs from affected targets for the next X seconds. This ability can also negate already active heals, buffs, etc. only if these abilities and items were active within the last 3 seconds. So, Wisken also will see a different section of health bar indicators on his enemy's health bar, which will be a yellow color on their health bar. There's a lot of stuff in this ability. So when I say all buffs, I'm meaning all champion and item affected buffs. So already I can see someone in the comments probably typing, well, it's going to get rid of red buff, blue buff, or Baron. No, does not get rid of those buffs. I think maybe Baron would be a very interesting way to apply this to an ability, but I think that'd be way too strong, way too game changing, and not a good idea. So any type of item or champion created buff or heal. So you think Gangplank Orange, you think, Leona W, you think Poppy passive with her buckler, you think Soraka heals, Janna shield, Janna heal, Lulu ultimate. There's quite a bit of heals and buffs, and then you have items. So Locket of the Iron Solari, Ardent Sensor. These are all buffs from items that you can negate. Think of the game-changing ability. Being able to throw shade in the middle of a team fight, dash into it, channel this ability, and negate an entire team that has built their comp around being sustainable. It changes the entire game. This ability, this champion would be extremely powerful when it comes to, climbing in ranked. This also could be very, very useful in pro play. Having a champion who, for one, can deal a decent amount of damage as an assassin, being very bursty, also has a ton of playmaking potential to shut down other utility champions. Let's say Karma comes back into the meta and becomes one of the, the more powerful mid lane champions, or even a support, whatever that meta actually occurs. Being able to cancel a Karma ultimate with your ultimate, being able to cancel a Janna ultimate, it's huge. It's huge, and I wish Riot would put something else, would have added something into the game right now that actually can do that, because if we ever get back to that sort of meta, a champion like this would be extremely viable. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But that's all I have for you guys today. Like always, please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of this champion, and throw this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see a continued growth in new champion ideas and reworks. And like I said, I'll see you guys in the next video.